There's something magical about art that someone's created through practicing and even in some cases mimicking other people, but they're making it uniquely their own. If we're developing computers that can just churn this stuff out, it's not just learning it and getting it from other places and putting it together like a machine would do it. Welcome to this episode of Help Me Understand with Dr. Thomas Jeffrey. We're having about getting closer to 5% of people subscribing. I would appreciate it if you would subscribe. And I would like to hear your comments. Here's a comment from the Evan Fall. In my opinion, the real danger of AI is that it can lead to a generation of apathetic people, unable and unwilling to be creative, knowing that creativity makes us who we are. What are we going to become if we subcontract it to a computer? Plus, doesn't it feel strange that graphic arts, that was a way for visual types of people to express themselves, required now to be described with words? That's an interesting point. Several points. Number one is our creativity, and I don't know why it seems like there's nothing sacred comes to mind when it comes to AI and robotics. And I'm using the AI and robotics. If you think about artificial intelligence as just that machine, the algorithms and the programming, and I don't mean just that machine. There's a lot that goes into developing AI, and the people doing it are incredible thinkers and incredible people. So I don't want to short sell, if you will, those individuals. When we think about that piece of creativity, that's such a part of who we are as humans, I don't want to discount that. I don't want to discount the fact that we shouldn't discount the fact that as humans, we have something special besides, I guess, our sentience, that creativity, and we're all creative in certain ways. We all have something within us that we admire, that we find beautiful, that sparks that spirit within us. I think that we need to be really careful about trying to recreate that. And that goes to this idea of individuals and creativity. There's something magical about whatever form of art that you might find as beautiful or motivating or admiring or whatever that is. There's something about art that someone's created through practicing and even in some cases mimicking other people, but they're making it uniquely their own. Even martial arts, if you want to put it that way, when you make that your own. The point that Evan Fall is making here, if we're developing computers that can just churn this stuff out because they have so much more computing power, it's not just learning it and getting it from other places and putting it together like a machine would do it. Here's a comment from Steve Millar. One thing I haven't heard anyone talk about is the desensitizing of human perception. As technology expands, our brains, our eyes, and the amount of hours in a day to use them stay the same. Is it better to contemplate one image for 10 minutes than to sift through 1,000 images in the same amount of time? If we may already feel somewhat overwhelmed by the amount of visual stimulus, ads, signs, screens, etc., that we see on a daily basis, what will a world with even far more images do to our ability and desire to appreciate content made from others versus ourselves? Many more questions here. Indeed, there are a lot of questions. And you bring up probably a very important issue here, which is how much we are overwhelmed with all of the things that are already both AI-made and man-made, human-made. And that this is only going to increase. We already see it. Everywhere we turn, all the devices that we have, it is overwhelming to think that we could even do more than this, but yet we do. We spend more and more time with our face in screens, with our eyes on screens. And, when we think about a simulation, the next level simulation that's happening with Meta, where we're going to be even more involved. If we haven't already, we're just going to have simulation over simulation over simulation, and the idea of reality may not go away, but the definition of reality ceases to be important. So yeah, that overwhelming of content, visuals, etc. But one of the things that is mentioned here at the end is our ability and desire to appreciate content made from others. As creative creatures, as creatures that are able to communicate at the level that we communicate, sometimes it's so compelling or so beautiful that there are no words, and that someone else was able to create that. And whether that's what they had in mind or not, that's how I feel about it. That's incredible. For instance, one of the things that I love live performances, and I don't mean the lip sync stuff. I mean people, artists that are out there who are performing live. I mean, it's beautiful. It's amazing, and I want there to be a connection, whether the artist feels it or not. If I feel their emotions and what's coming from them, that connection, I want it to be true.